Hey folks, welcome back to the Weekly Spark, your regular roundup of what's been happening in the worlds of e-ink, Kindle and iPad. This week, Apple finally launches its Creator Studio subscription and early reactions are already split. Instapaper makes a move that'll affect how some of you read long-form articles on your Kindles. We've got a new ambitious colour e-ink tablet from BigMe, and Amazon quietly pushes the Kindle Colorsoft forward, just not here in the UK. It's Friday the 30th of January 2026. Grab a brew, get comfortable, and let's get cracking. So, the headline news this week is that Apple has just released Creator Studio, and early feedback from people who started using it has been noticeably mixed. In case you missed the previous Weekly Spark episode where I explained what Creator Studio is, here's a quick recap before we dig into that feedback. So Creator Studio is a new £12.99 a month subscription, or £129 a year, that bundles together Apple's Procreative apps, Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro and a brand new Pixelmator Pro for the iPad into one single plan. On the Mac, you can still buy these apps outright if you'd prefer, but on the iPad, subscription is now the only way to access them. The bundle also includes Apple's wider Pro toolset on the Mac, like Motion, Compressor and Mainstage, and it unlocks AI-powered features inside Apple's Pages, Numbers, Keynote and Freeform. On a positive side, early hands-on impressions suggest that the apps themselves are solid and capable. Reviewers who spent some time with the suite on the iPad say that Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro and Pixelmator Pro all work well, and that having them bundled together represents strong value for money, especially when you compare them to something like Adobe Creative Cloud. At £12.99 a month, or the same in dollars, the pricing undercuts Adobe by a fair margin, and for many creators that alone makes it appealing. The student and educator tier at £2.99 a month, or $29.99 a year, is also being widely described as an excellent deal. Pixelmator Pro on iPad in particular has received very positive early feedback. Reviewers say its touch-first design and Apple Pencil support feel natural and responsive, rather than like a desktop app awkwardly squeezed into a tablet. That matters, because this is the first time Pixelmator Pro has been available on iPad at all, and early impressions suggest it's one of the strongest parts of the bundle. Logic Pro is also being well received. People using it across iPad and Mac report that the round-trip editing is genuinely smooth, and that newer AI-assisted tools like Session Players and Stem Splitter, whatever they are, add useful creative help without taking away control from the user. Final Cut Pro has earned praise too, particularly for features like transcript search, which reviewers say works quickly and accurately, making it easier to locate clips and sound bites in larger projects. But it's not all positive. A reoccurring criticism, not unexpectedly, is the subscription model itself, because Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro and Pixelmator Pro on iPad now require Creator Studio. Some users fear that Apple is actively closing the door on standalone creative apps on iPad. There's frustration from people who only want one app, say Final Cut Pro, but are forced to subscribe to the entire suite. And there's also some skepticism of whether Apple will maintain full feature parity between subscription users and those who bought the Mac apps outright. Even though Apple says one-time purchase remains supported on the Mac, some users worry that future updates could increasingly favour subscribers. A few reviewers have described Creator Studio as a bittersweet bundle. The inclusion of productivity apps like Pages, Numbers and Keynote under the same subscription feels awkward to some creators and arguably dilutes the studio focus for people who mainly work in video, audio or design. And while Pixelmator Pro is praised overall, comparisons with Adobe still point out gaps in more advanced areas like high-end retouching. So, the early picture seems pretty clear. Creator Studio does offer a capable, compelling set of tools, especially for creators who want professional grade software across iPad and Mac and don't mind a subscription. But there's already pushback around how it's packaged and what it signals about the future of creative software on iPad. It'll be interesting to see how Apple adds value, rolls out updates, and responds to subscription fatigue once the honeymoon is over. So have you already subscribed to this new package, which comes with a month's free trial or 3 months if you have a new device? What do you think of it? Let me know. Please do leave a comment. I've yet to get hold of it, but when I do, I'll certainly be making a video about it over at my review channel, The Spark. So make sure to head there and subscribe so you don't miss it. Link is in the description. Now, from what is quite big news affecting a lot of people, something that is quite niche, but for those who use it, very useful, Instapaper. One of the most popular Read It Later apps has confirmed that its Send to Kindle feature is moving behind a paywall. Until now, this has been a useful and crucially free way to save articles on your phone and have them delivered to your Kindle, neatly formatted and ready to read. And that matters because Kindle devices are obviously excellent for reading. They're not exactly known for having a great web browsing experience though. Instapaper filled that gap by doing all the heavy lifting in the background. According to Instapaper's lead engineer, the process is far from simple. Every time you send a digest to your Kindle, their servers have to process the text, pull in the images, store the data, convert everything to a Kindle-friendly EPUB file, and then email it to your device. And with well over 100,000 people using the feature, most of them on free accounts, Instapaper says it's been running the service at a loss. So, from February the 19th, you'll need an Instapaper premium subscription to keep using Send to Kindle wirelessly. That costs $6 a month or $60 a year. I think it's similar in pounds as well. And it also includes extras like full text search, unlimited notes, and a permanent archive of saved articles. There's a bit of good news though, depending on what e-reader you use. Kobo owners aren't affected by this change because Kobo's Instapaper integration uses an API rather than Amazon's email-based system, so that will remain free. And if you don't want to pay at all, there are still workarounds. You can manually transfer files to your Kindle using a USB cable or use Amazon's own Send to Kindle browser extension. Both still work, but arguably neither is as smooth or as automatic as Instapaper's original setup. So this isn't the end of reading articles on your Kindle. It is the end of doing it effortlessly and for free, at least if you're deep in the Amazon ecosystem. Now, Chinese company BigMe has announced an ambitious new color e-ink tablet for 2026, the BigMe B10. The B10 features a 10.3-inch Collider 3 color e-ink display. You get 300 ppi black and white text, which is what really matters for reading, and 150 ppi in color, which is about as good as color e-ink is getting right now. There's also a 36 level adjustable front light with warm and cool tones, which is pretty much expected on higher end e-ink tablets. Where the B10 tries to stand out is connectivity and hardware. It runs Android 14 with full Google Play Store access, powered by an octo-core processor, 8 GB of RAM, and 256 GB of storage, plus a micro SD slot. You also get 4G LTE with a SIM slot, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3, GPS, stereo speakers, a fingerprint sensor, and, more unusually for an e-ink device, a 20 megapixel rear camera and a 5 megapixel front camera. It supports a stylus with 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity, and BigMe is leaning heavily into the pen on paper experience for sketching, annotation, and long form writing. There's also support for a keyboard cover, turning it into more of a lightweight productivity setup rather than just a reader or stylus note taker. And because it's full Android, much like Book's devices, You're not locked into a single ecosystem for notes, files, and apps. That openness will appeal to some people, especially if you like choosing your own tools rather than being funneled into one platform. That said, the usual e-ink caveats still apply. Color e-ink is slower than LCD or OLED. Animations are limited, despite BigMe boasting about its smooth refresh mode, and many Android apps simply aren't designed with e-ink in mind. So I'm sure video will work fine and better than some, but this isn't an iPad. I'd still keep your expectations low. But if your priorities are reading, writing, note-taking, battery life, and having something much more open than a Kindle or Remarkable, this probably will be worth it. The BigMe B10 is available for pre-order now with some great pre-order discounts, priced at around £430 for the standard bundle or £485 with the keyboard cover included. And I think that's down from around about £600. So that's really good. Now, finally, while we still can't buy the Kindle Scribe Colorsoft here in the UK, Amazon has begun shipping the Fig color variant to customers in the United States. This becomes the second color option for the device, alongside the original graphite finish. The Fig version is best described as a deep, rich red, closer to Merlot than anything bright, and it costs exactly the same as the graphite model, so the hardware itself remains unchanged. The Scribe Colorsoft features an 11-inch Kaleido 3 color ink display with the obligatory 300 ppi black and white and 150 ppi color. The screen is flush with the bezel protected by glass, and the device measures 7.4 by 9.6 inches and weighing just over 400 grams. Inside, Amazon has fitted a new custom chip and increased memory compared to earlier Scribe models. One of the more interesting technical details is the display panel. Amazon has licensed Sharp's IGZO oxide backplane technology, developed in partnership with e-ink. So in theory, this allows for better control over pigment movement, slightly faster refresh behavior, therefore more accurate color reproduction than standard Kaleido implementations, which correlates with what a lot of positive early reviews have said about the Kindle Scribe Colorsoft. Amazon has also reworked the front light system using miniaturized LEDs placed much closer to the display, so that allows for a slimmer bezel and even more lighting. There's also a textured glass surface designed to add friction for the pen, reducing that slippery glass-on-glass feel you can get with most tablets. And parallax has been reduced as well, so writing feels closer to the pen on paper rather than the pen hovering just above the screen. Scribe Colorsoft supports Google Drive and Microsoft OneDrive, making it easier to import documents for markup and export and annotated PDFs. Notes and notebooks can also sync with OneNote, which helps if you move between devices. Apparently this integration is also coming to older Scribes. Alright, that's your lot for this week. Apple's Creator Studio lands with plenty of promise and a fair bit of skepticism. Instapaper puts one of its most useful features behind a paywall. BigMe continues to push color e-ink into more capable territory, and Amazon keeps iterating the Kindle Scribe Colorsoft, even if UK buyers are still stuck watching from the sidelines. As always, if you've spotted any e-ink, Kindle or iPad stories I've missed, drop them in the comments or email me directly at markfromthespark@gmail.com and I'll take a look for next week. Thanks for watching or listening. If you found this useful, please do give it a like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a digital coffee using the QR code that's been on the screen throughout or via the link in the description. I'm Mark from the Weekly Spark, and I'll see you in the next one.